Hi, my name is Hubwood, and today we will do a quick review of the 4-year-old Acer Predator Helios 300, which in my case comes with an i7 7700HQ, which is a 4-core 8-thread processor and has an all-core turbo of up to 3.4 GHz. It comes with 16 GB of DDR4 RAM. It also has a 1 TB Sata SSD, which has a writing and reading speed of around 500. And this version comes with a GTX 1060, 6 GB. There are also versions with a 1050 Ti, which is significantly slower in gaming and some graphic programs. Well, actually, this is the personal laptop that I own right now. Now, the case of this laptop is actually full plastic. It's a 17-inch laptop and it weighs below 3 kilo despite the size it has. It's not super thick considering it's 4 years old, but it definitely looks like a gamer laptop. So if you don't like stuff that looks like gaming, then this is probably not the laptop for you. And it's not super mobile, obviously, because it's 17-inch and almost 3 kilograms. Well, as you can see, after 4 years, maybe you can see it, I don't know, the case actually, it has some scratches. It's nothing really horrible, but you can see it was used. A quick notice about the display. You can't open the laptop with one hand if that's important to you. The Full HD 17-inch screen has a maximum brightness of around 317 nits. It covers the sRGB space with around 85% and the Adobe RGB with around 58%. That's not super great, but it's absolutely enough for light Photoshop stuff and some video editing. And since it's an IPS display, the viewing angles are pretty alright. Oh, by the way, the display only has 60 Hz back in 2017, 120 and more Hz was not common for gaming laptops. By the way, this is the maximum angle at which you can open the laptop. Now the keyboard is alright. I like writing with it, I don't have any problems. I really favor keyboards which have a dedicated numpad, which is not a great task for a 17-inch laptop, I guess. But the touchpad is not my favorite, to be honest. It has some weird clicking point and the mousepad actually and the touchpad actually can be pushed in quite a bit, but it's okay for casual use if you have to use it on the go. But I wouldn't use it on a regular basis. I would absolutely recommend getting a dedicated mouse. Now let's have a look at the connections. On the left side we do have a LAN port, we do have the USB-C port, an HDMI output, a USB 3.0 port and a dedicated SD card reader, which is nice to have, I guess. On the right side we have the power plug-in and two USB 2.0 as well as the audio headphone jack. Now that's not my favorite configuration because I don't like it if there's too much going on the right side where I have my mouse. So please take that in mind if you are someone who needs to plug in external hard drives, USB sticks and has to rely on those connections. By the way, this is what the integrated webcam looks like and what the integrated microphone sounds like. Considering the speakers this gaming laptop has, they are at best, they are mediocre. They can get pretty loud and the sound is actually okay and clear, but it absolutely lacks bass, so if that's important to you. Now the speakers, you can see they are down below, so they're pointing downwards on the table. And while we have the laptop on its back, let me talk about opening the laptop up. You can switch the HDD by just opening this little door over here, so you don't have to open the whole laptop. That's nice. That's not common anymore today. You can also actually switch and upgrade the RAM pretty easily with the help of this little back door over here. If you want to add in a second SSD, which you can because it has a free M.2 slot, you need to open the whole case. I actually did this a few times. I also repasted the laptop, repasted with thermal paste the CPU and the GPU, so to make sure that's not a problem of the throttling that I had. Now the loudness of this laptop is okay. It often spins up the fans even if in idle. It's not disturbing, but be aware that this can happen. On the full load, the laptop gets quite noisy. It's not the loudest that I have heard, but you can also adjust the fan speed via the Predator software, and the maximum fan speed is even louder than what the laptop does by itself when being on the full load. But I have to point out that this laptop tends to throttle the CPU if I don't undervolt the CPU and if I don't put the fan speed at maximum. And there's also some trick that I actually made a dedicated video about. You can look that up right over here. And the thing is that you just have to place something below the laptop right beneath here, and then it gets more fresh air from down below, and actually the temperatures drop like 5 to 10 degrees. And this also works with other laptops than this Predator. So try that out for your laptop if you can, and let me know your results. Now, this laptop's CPU is able to achieve around 3,930 points on the first run in Cinebench R23, which is the newest installment, and around 3,700 points after a few runs. In Cinebench R15 I was getting around 730 points on the first run and a score of around 700 on the following run. In 3D Mark Firestrike I was getting over 10,000 points, which is great for a 4-year-old mid-range gaming laptop, I guess. The graphics score was around 12,000 points. In 3D Mark Time Spy I was getting 3,900 points total score and a graphics score of around 3,875 points. And now let's have a look at how this 4-year-old laptop performs in brand new AAA titles. Alright, so I was testing all games with an undervolt of -90 mV and the fans at maximum speed. I've tested all games at the display's native resolution, which is Full HD, and I tried to choose at least medium settings. Please keep in mind that recording reduced the FPS by around 2 to 3, so you have to add that to the numbers you see here. I was starting with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the newest installment of the series, and achieving an average of amazing 62 FPS and a 1% low of 40 at Full HD and medium to high settings. To be honest, I did not expect the game to run that good at those settings. By the way, I highly recommend to check out the optimized settings guide by Hardware Unboxed. For Cyberpunk 2077, the results weren't as promising, to be honest. This was the least well-running game of the titles I've tested for this video. On the medium preset, I was achieving an average of 35 FPS and a 1% low of 21. That is playable, but it's far from being optimal. And that was considering the newest patch, which was 1.12 in that case. So I was also testing the low settings and then saw a better average of 42 FPS and a 1% low of 23. To be honest, in that case I'm not sure what I would prefer. Probably some mix of settings and a higher texture setting, as the 6GB of VRAM could easily handle that. In Call of Duty Warzone I was getting a very stable and playable average of 72 FPS and a 1% low of 42 FPS on medium settings and Full HD. Choosing low settings only boosted the FPS by around 5 to 10. I would at least choose some anti-aliasing, as the game looks really ugly on the very lowest settings though. But thanks to the 8 threads and the 16GB, I had very few FPS drops only and would consider the game very enjoyable on this laptop. Sure, it's no 144Hz capable gameplay, but for that Warzone needs a way better PC anyway. In Red Dead Redemption 2 I was getting an average of 47 FPS with a 1% low of 29 on medium settings with high textures. And in my opinion the game looks great and runs better than some would expect. Again, I actually didn't expect such a good performance, remembering the performance on my GTX 1050 laptop, which was way less good than that. In Watch Dogs Legion I was achieving an average of 46 FPS and a 1% low of 29 on the medium preset. Considerably better than Cyberpunk 2077, but in my opinion not as good looking. Still an enjoyable experience, stable frame times and very few FPS drops only. And last but not least, and only because it's so new and just for fun, I was firing up Valorant, which of course can actually be run on a toaster. And with toaster, I actually mean 12-year-old hardware or even older than that. Seriously. So I was getting an average of 165 FPS on medium and a 1% low of 80 FPS. So in that case, a 144Hz monitor would actually make sense, to be honest. But now I really wonder why they actually make laptops with a 1650 or a 1650 Ti and a 144Hz screen, because I guess the only game that is able to run those specs is stuff like Valorant, CSGO and League of Legends. Oh, and of course Minecraft, yeah. 144Hz on Minecraft, that makes sense. By the way, this laptop is fast enough to provide VR for the Oculus Quest. I was able to play Half-Life Alyx with this laptop just fine. It was not always getting 100% of the 72 FPS that the glasses provide, but it was good enough to actually enjoy the game and play through the whole story. I've lent it to a friend and he was playing the whole game with this laptop and my Oculus Quest, having fun and enjoying it. So if that's important to you, this laptop is VR ready. Now, would I recommend getting a 4-year-old used laptop? Well, that's up to you. Fun fact, the laptops I owned always were used laptops. I never bought a brand new laptop for myself, except the ones that I test, but not the ones that I keep for myself. I never had bad luck with picking a used laptop. Nothing ever broke, so I was lucky, I guess. But if you are willing to buy used, this is a great value, a great price performance. Combining an i7 and a GTX 1060 will absolutely get you great and fun results even in 2021, even with the newest and demanding titles. This is, in my opinion, this is the best price performance combo that you can buy as of right now. It's even better than an i5 and 101650 or 101650 Ti combo, even on a sale probably. Unless you can get them like really cheap for below 700, which I doubt might happen too often. Considering this also has 16 GB of RAM, dual mode and then 1 TB SSD drive, that's just great value with a 17-inch screen and everything considered. But of course I get if you are too afraid to buy used, then don't. So until the RTX 3050 laptops will be available sometimes around this year, maybe the end of the year, I don't know. This, in my opinion, is the gaming budget price performance king. Or the configuration, laptops with the same configurations are. If you enjoy this content, it would help a lot if you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. Thank you so much. And now, thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe. See you next time. Bye bye and tschüss.